So let's talk about how do we charge based on industries. And this is actually a live question that came in from, I want to give you credit, my man, Ruben, who's in our Chatbot 101 group. And what's really, really interesting is that you absolutely have to account for the industry in your pricing. And so there's no right way to price every single industry. What I would share with you is to understand the industry and to understand what they want, most importantly, and then to understand the types of businesses that are out there. So what I would share, and the reason that I didn't necessarily say like jump into the real estate industry, is because there are a ton of real estate agents that what we learned was like, we ran into person after person who was like, nope, can't afford you, can't afford you, can't afford you, you're too expensive, you're too expensive, you're too expensive. And we're like, what? Like we had stretches where nobody, like we wouldn't bring on any clients. Like we were having sales pitches, we were talking to people were interested, they're like, wow, this looks great, but they couldn't afford us. And it wasn't like we were charging anything outrageous. I mean, we were charging what every, digital marketer charges out there, kind of these standard retainers. But like Sergio said, because of the industry, they were not as prone to spending that much money on their business. And so we didn't necessarily leave the industry. That doesn't mean, oh, well, real estate agents can't afford this type of stuff. What we learned is that we had to be more selective with the types of real estate agents, with the types of businesses that we went after. And so that's why the days 3, 4, 5, and 6 are so important to this whole process, which we're talking about, because the qualifying process, the qualifying stage of your sales automation system is really designed to find the people who can actually afford your services. And we learned this the hard way because we had weeks where people would just tell us, can't afford you, can't afford you, can't afford you. And so what we did is we did two things. The first thing is we did adjust our offer. We actually created a lower end product, which was a lot more scalable, which was a lot easier to deliver, which didn't require as much of our time. And if they wanted to be able to, spend a lower ticket, well, we found and we created something that was just less, it was less time intensive for us on the delivery side. And then what we also did on the other side of it is we really tailored our prospect and we really tailored our outreach to find these types of businesses, these types of specifically real estate brokers, these teams, these team leaders who were able to pay our services, and they were used to making investments into their business because they were a business owner, right? So that's, I think, a lot of that really is specifically the challenge with real estate, is because a lot of, and there are other industries where this happens, and that's that the business owner is oftentimes a solopreneur, or they have a very, very, very small team. And so if they have a very, very small team, then that means that your investment, your expense on whatever it is going to be probably a large part of their, one of their largest investments. So what I would say is to make sure that you do match either your offer, and you change your offer to include something that is lower end so that you can accommodate for these people if you wish, right? If you want to, make sure that it's scalable, make sure that it's duplicatable, make sure that it's less time intensive, and then that way you can still offer this higher end service, which, usually requires a little more time, or usually requires, more expert systems that are involved. But that's what I would say about pricing. And what I would share with you, the last thing I would say is when you're starting out is just to price up and start at whatever is your no matter what, right? Start at your no matter what number. And that's like, no matter what, I'm not taking less than this to work. Start there, right? Whatever that number is. And frankly, I'll be honest with you, I talked about our my music teacher at the very beginning. The very first time we worked with her for free, because my no matter what was zero. I was like, I just need experience. I need case studies. I need reviews. I need to get like some confidence so that I can go and eventually get a lot more clients in the real estate industry. And we have dozens, clients across the nation in the real estate space. And so, but it started with it started working with someone for free. And then we worked up. And then we went up to, okay, 500, right? Then we went up to 1,000. Then it was 1,500. Then it was 2,500. And then it was whatever a month, right? 1,000 a month, 1,500, 2,000 a month, 20. And we worked up. So what I would share with you is to start at your no matter what number, and everyone's number is a little bit different, and then to build up from there. So I think that's a great question for you. Hopefully you guys got some value out of that, and let's keep the questions coming.